After spending 2 weeks staying in Shanghai's Shikumen, I managed to get a small insight into city living in one of China's busiest cities. One thing that was particularly interesting in these living complexes was how the lack of individual housing space resulted in large communal areas between the packed houses, and the consequent street furniture and urban furnishings that helped to make the most of the limited spaces. Shikumen are the traditional housing in Shanghai and are a combination of Western terrace houses and Chinese dwellings, incorporating laneways similar to traditional Chinese courtyards within the two-story brick buildings. The courtyard has been a large part of housing in China for the last 1,000 years, and Shikumen have developed from this housing pattern with its communal spaces and courtyards. The laneways are fitted with street furniture and urban furnishings, which enable the community to wash, cook, garden, socialize, and exercise. Shanghai's Shikumen don't offer beautiful sights like other parts of the city, but instead close and tight laneways enclosed by weathered brick walls, with the beauty being in the details and the ingenuity of the residents, making the most of the tiny spaces. One of the major areas within the complexes are the laneways furnished with rows of sinks and chopping boards. Pots and pans hang from the walls and vegetables sit on any free surface. You get a glimpse into daily life as you look down the lanes and witness people peeling vegetables into the communal sinks and preparing meals on the rows of concrete benches. The urban sinks are used for a variety of different jobs, from washing fabrics and clothes to keeping fish fresh. It was an amazing blend of activities and seemed to be rarely quiet, which goes to show the importance of preparing and eating food in China. When not occupied, the surfaces were clean and the sinks were empty, ready to be used by the next occupant. The main lanes and courtyards within the Shikumen become living spaces, with chairs, lounges and benches placed alongside the brick walls, with no shortage of spaces to sit down. Older residents occupy the spaces for most of the day, lounging on the benches, smoking, playing cards and chatting. The urban seating is heavily used, and there'd always be someone occupying at least one of the many seating areas, quietly watching people come through the neighborhood. As well as the fixed benches, a lot of the outdoor furniture comprised of an assortment of tied desk chairs, dining chairs, and whatever else could be found and used. The chairs would be moved and arranged for large groups, and when not in use they were pushed up against the wall to make room for scooters and space for kids to play. All this furniture made the areas highly sociable, and groups of people were always using the space, often still wearing their pajamas and slippers. Vegetation and gardens play a massive part in Chinese culture, with a strong sense of unity in nature. As well as this, there are many symbolic meanings and beliefs for flowers, trees, and fruits. This can be seen in the Shikumen areas, with every complex having furnishings or DIY fittings to enable vegetation to grow, despite being extremely compact. Plants grow from the concrete planters alongside the walls, and vines creep up the buildings, spreading across the many washing lines. A range of pots, buckets, old water bottles, and containers come together to create an urban garden, making the laneways feel like a haven from the hustle of the outside streets. Within these pots grow many plants that have cultural significance in China, like the gourd, believed to ward off disease and evil spirits, and bamboo, which is a symbol of youth and virtue. Hanging pot plants furnish the newer laneways with pink flowers symbolizing life and celebration, while providing the community with contrasting colors against the brick and concrete. With the limited space, every spot within the area becomes an option to fit the community's essential accessories. The residents create the simplest and cheapest solutions to problems, constructing an amplitude of DIY furnishings packed within the tight alleyways. These solutions comprised of an array of different materials, making every laneway different and interesting. Pipes bend out from the ground to create bike locks, brackets, wires and poles extrude from walls to create shelves or hanging spaces, and massive complexes of cables cross from every available space to hang clothes. Alongside the homemade furnishings sit bright-coloured fitness equipment, provided and installed by the Chinese government in an initiative to provide free gym facilities in public areas. The facilities range from chin-up bars, step machines, and a strange assortment of motions that twist, turn and swing. Most of the gym users were seniors, and it seemed to be common that a person's athletic life would begin with old age, with most people participating in dancing, tai chi, and other exercises being at least 60 years of age. As well as going to the gym to work out, the seniors would go for a chat, and being in the middle of the communal laneways, they were highly sociable areas. The shared facilities, furnishings, and communal laneways seem to inspire a massive sense of community within the Shikaman areas. By sharing the living spaces and participating in the community-based services, the inhabitants seem to spend a large portion of time in the communal spaces. Furthering this sense of community, the entrance to the main laneways is fitted with communal boards, displaying notices and the face of key members within the community, showing their names and the roles of the individuals. It was interesting to experience such a strong sense of community, especially when compared to Western culture, and although we couldn't talk to any of the locals, the area felt friendly and welcoming. What was also interesting was that despite being the main form of living in Shanghai since the 1860s, the shared furnishings mirror the concept behind the sharing economy that is being heavily adopted in modern China through their multiple vending machines, bikes, and other shared facilities. Walking through the communal courtyards and lanes, the areas really say a lot about the inhabitants, with the furniture and furnishings speaking about the lifestyle and culture of working-class Shanghainese families. They reflect different elements of Chinese life, compacted into the details of the Shikaman complexes.